Okay, so we're starting a new perek. Finally. Yeah. All right. First perek, 6 pesukim. Okay, and we're going to start analyzing on our own. If we have time, we're going to do Ibn Ezra because Ibn Ezra was more fruitful than Radak, and that is a pun. Okay, you'll see. Yeah. Okay, so it's and maybe I'll prejudice you because I already said this earlier. It's you could get faked out and think that you're reading Mishlei. Okay, so Ashrei ha'ish asher lo halach ba'atzas rishayim u'v'derech chata'im lo amad u'v'moshav leitzim lo yashav. So Ashrei either means praiseworthy or happy. It's always frustrating because you just tell yourself, "Oh, I'll get it from context," and it often works for both of them, you know. So I actually, what do you call it? Disclaimer. I translated this when I was doing it with Radak, so I actually don't know if these translations correspond to Ibn Ezra. I made the decision, fairly late to do Ibn Ezra, so we'll see if we have to change things. Okay, so praiseworthy happy is the man who does not follow the counsel of the wicked or the advice of the wicked, and that's why I'm translating halach as follow because it's talking about advice. But you also should think of it as walk. Okay. Also, this is past tense, but I think this makes more sense to say in present tense because we're talking about a person who is like a dynamic entity. Okay. So happy or praiseworthy is the guy who doesn't follow the counsel of the wicked. Uvaderech chata'im lo amad, and he does not stand in or on the path of sinners. Uvamoshav leitzim lo yashav, and he does not sit in they say the session of scorners or scoffers or the seating area of scoffers or scorners. Two. Okay. Yeah. Did I not print enough? Oh, well, I guess there's enough for here. Okay. I was going to ask who, I was just unthinkingly going to ask who is it, and I was like, that's not your purse. Yeah. In the Torah Hashem chepto, but only in the Torah of Hashem is his chepet, which is either desire or delight. Okay, it could be translated both ways. Uvasoraso yehege yomam v'layla, and he thinks into his Torah day and night. Okay, and the H is capital, plain shot. Okay, you know the drasha on it, why you might think otherwise?
Oh, because he acquires them.
Yeah, right. This is drasha that they use for how Rav doing Mochon is kavod, because when he starts it off, it's Torah Hashem, and then after he learns it, it's his Torah. But plain shot is it's Hashem's Torah. Like, yeah, okay. You don't change pronouns in the middle without telling anybody. You know, like Hashem, Torah Hashem, so yeah, like yeah.
Well, right. You could say the person is
it could be complicated, yeah.
The person is delighting in Hashem Torah. And
yeah.
He like the person because he's the actor in the
Yeah, you could complicate it, yeah.
I don't think it's that complicated.
I think it is. I think it's not natural. I think if I hadn't said anything, then you wouldn't have had it enough.
I think they're equally possible.
Yeah, okay. V'haya k'etz shasul al page mayim, and he, now this is not Hashem, so I guess that supports your thing. Yeah. He will be like a tree. Shasul, I think it's just planted, but there's probably some connotations I'm unaware of. On streams of water or alongside streams of water, I think is better because you don't plant stuff on streams of water, unless it's like bog plants. Asher pirio yitain beito, that it gives its fruit in its time, but alehu lo yibol, and its leaf will not wither. And everything he does will succeed. Lo pein harashayim, not so are the wicked. In kamot asher tidefenu haruach, they are like chaff. Hilchot Shabbos, what's chaff? I know you don't need Hilchot Shabbos for that.
Yeah. So let me go in depth into biology.
Yeah.
Okay. Basically, there's like the wheat kernel, and there's like the other plant matter, which is not.
Right. And what are the characteristics of chaff, like physically?
It is very light. So,
yes. Yeah. So you can winnow it, and it'll blow away in the wind.
Yeah.
So that's what it says here. In kamot asher tidefenu haruach. It is like chaff that the wind blows away, literally pushes away, but I think blows away. They say, I think I got this from either ArtScroll or Alter, like chaff driven by the wind. Pushed away by the wind. Al-Kain, therefore, lo yakumu rashayim b'mishpat, the wicked will not rise up in judgment. or justice, okay, however you translate mishpat, v'chatayim ba'adas tzadikim, and sinners in the congregation of the righteous. Ki yodea Hashem derech tzadikim, because God knows the path of tzadikim, v'derech roshaim toved, and the path of the wicked will perish. Yeah. Now, this is short enough that I think we can actually treat it like a Mishlei pasuk, or like Mishlei pesukim, and raise all the questions, unlike most of the stuff we've done. But I guess first of all, just like we usually do, like observations or general feelings or whatever.
This feels like an introduction to me.
Yes.
Yeah.
What makes it feel that way to you?
It just seems to be like touching on like very general Tehilim themes.
Okay. Deacon flourishing, Rishon being destroyed.
Yeah. And like Torah,
Mhm.
and Hashem, and like botanical metaphors.
Botanical metaphors, yeah. Yep. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's not so hard to see the pivot point, maybe. Or what actually I shouldn't say. What would you say the pivot is?
I'm gonna say 1 of 6 choices.
I actually disagree.
Ooh.
You think there are more choices?
Yes.
The 7th choice there is no pivot.
No. That is the 7th choice. So I guess there's 8. Yeah.
Maybe 3 is the pivot point, maybe.
So 3 meaning between 2 and 3, or between 3 and 4?
Between 2 and 3.
Okay, how so?
1 and 2 are, I guess, talking about who this praiseworthy person is, and then 3 after like hit the results, or like what he'll be like what's going to
Okay.
happen to him.
I hear that. Yeah. Right. That definitely works.
I was thinking between 3 and 4, just between like Tzadikim and Roshan.
Yeah. So I was thinking that also, but I was thinking that it's different, is that the whole thing is back and forth between Tzadikim and Roshan, right? 1 is about the bad guys, 2 is about the good guys, 3 is about the good guys, 4 is about the bad guys, 5 is about the bad guys, and 6 is about the good guys.
6 about what?
What?
6
Oh, I guess it pivots 2 ways in that one. And same, yeah, right. Good guys and then bad guys. Yeah. So I think this is one of these back and forth ones. I'm starting to feel comfortable that that's a category, the flip flop ones.
Yeah.
Category 2.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So should we do questions?
Yeah. What does Ashrei mean?
Yeah. All right. What does Ashrei mean? Let's go in order just to make things simple in terms of order of the pesukim here.
Yeah. Was Atzis Roshan?
Yeah.
Has one halach in it.
Yeah. Okay. So let's just say that for all of them, right? What does it mean? What is halicha be'atzas reshaim? What's the next one? Amida b'derech hata'im. What is
Yeshiva b'moshav leitim.
yeshiva b'moshav leitim? And by those questions, we're asking like, what is the halicha? What's the asa? What is a rasha? Asking all the things. Yeah. I wouldn't be shorthand because we're.
They rhyme really well.
They do. There's some rhymes here. Same thing also with the Vahayak K'eit Shatu al Palgei Mayim Asher Pirio Yitim Beitov V'Alei Lo Yibol. It's like loose biblical Hebrew rhymes. It's not like actual good rhymes, but yeah.
I'm sure if you said anything, I need rhyme.
Probably.
Just do it with the proper.
Yes. No, I could play that from all Torah, but I'm not going to. Yeah, I think they lean it there. Yeah. Okay. Does that cover the first topic? One question that we'll ask, because all of them apart from talk about it, is what is the order? Yeah, Rishaim, Chataim, Leitzim. Or what's the relationship between the 3? Like, definitely Halifa, Amida, and Yeshiva are 3 modes of, not transportation, 3 modes of like movement, So like, what is the ordering of the three bad apples, to use a botanical motion, bad categories, if there is any, right?
Are they the same as in Mishlei?
Yes. Yeah. I think there are. Pote, yeah. I think we had one actually. Atos Atverglein Pote. Although you could argue.
Mr. Abrov Kote Nafsho.
Yeah.
No, but
Yeah.
that was. Oh, a non-configuring as well. That was.
Say again?
A non-configuring Amos Melech, It's abra floating.
Yeah. I've heard that there's a differentiation between chotim and chatoim, but I don't know grammar, so sinners is good enough for me. Yeah. So what is the? So I guess are these? And it's kind of an artificial question, right? Are these because this is really just part of the question of like what's the definition? But are these personalities the same as in Mishlei or not?
Why is that an artificial question?
Because we wouldn't ask a question from Mishlei on Tehilim just seeing the pasuk. Like we could also say like, is it the same as in Sefer Daniel? Is it the same as in like the Chumash? But because we're familiar with Mishlei, that's why.
Right.
Meaning it's not stemming from the text. We would just ask, what is the definition?
What does it
And I'll tell you this. David enough didn't ask this question because Shlomo wasn't born yet. So like when he wrote it, then you would just ask on the pasuk.
Well, it depends on when he wrote it. If someone was born.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. What were you saying though? Also
Oh,
depends on when Shlomo wrote it. Well, no, everyone holds he wrote Mishlei in the Middle Ages. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I was just gonna say like because this is a Mishlei section, it seems like more of a question. Even though
Yeah, no, I mean it's a good question. I'm saying it's artificial in the sense that it didn't come from the text; it came from our experience. Constructivist theory. Yeah.
What type of Easter are we talking about?
I was talking about this with this actually like it semi came up in my shot and drush Sunday year. But I knew those terms, but that there are there's basically like a spectrum in terms of when you're in terms of like literary criticism, critical reading of like, are you trying to get at the author's intent or are you trying to construct meaning from the text based on your own experiences? So like if you're asking for a I don't know, like queer Marxist reading of Shakespeare, that's not getting what he's saying from the text. That's like projecting your own framework on it and then deriving stuff. It's much more like drasha, So I'm saying like
that would be drasha, asking what is the same. Like whatever we.
No, right. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
tongue-in-cheek saying constructivist because we're bringing our own stuff to the table. If we were, learning the Rambam in, Kiddushin al Tanai, and the definition he gives of tzaddik halachically the same as the definition of tzaddik here, it's yeah. But it's a good question though. Okay, yeah.
What type of Easter are we talking about?
The guy Ki B'Torah Hashem Chakto Uv'Torah Yehageh Yom V'Layla. I'm serious, right? Isn't that the type of Easter we're talking about?
Well, it sounds like what he's doing. Doesn't sound like the characteristic of a person.
Right, but I'm saying it is saying like this man has two qualities.
Yeah.
He doesn't do this stuff and he does do this stuff.
Oh yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
My Mishlei thinking about it, but it's just that it's telling a person to not do the things in the first place, but to do the things in the second. But it's just saying praiseworthy of the person who does this.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I mean, it's still a good question, but like it's not a it's a question that we have to understand what answer he's giving, not like look for our own answer,
Yeah.
So can we phrase that in a way that is
There's an answer in the form of a question.
what okay. Yeah. What does it mean by Ki'im B'Toras Hashem Hefto Uvesoraso Yehege Yomam V'Laila? And then I'm going to add to that. What does that? Okay. Okay. I'll add this as a separate question. What is? Who is the Ish who has both of these qualities, i.e. pasuk aleph and pasuk bet?
And are these the only two? Like it seems like there's a middle ground between these two things, like going to the Asas and also and.
That's a good question, also, right? Yeah. So let's say, is there a middle ground? Oh, I thought of a question now, or not. I mean, it's a question, but also like, what else can you say for for Isaiah's pivot point between 1 and 2, and then 3 and the rest? Now that we're talking about definitions, hint.
Transitions to botanical stuff.
That is true, but then that's really only for Gimel and Daled, and then it goes back to just talking about people afterwards.
People are really Karka.
The second half.
So people.
Second half is talking about like like the effect of these two lifestyles.
Okay, that is definitely true. Yeah, I think Isaiah said that, or did I
Did he?
imagine? I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. So here maybe I have the wrong premise. So I'll ask it as a question. Is the Ish a tzaddik?
Doesn't sound like it.
Doesn't sound like it, right? It sounds like you have this guy is Ashrei, right? And then I'm sorry, maybe it's not between
It does. Can I give a counter?
yeah, there's definitely counterproofs. Yeah, go ahead.
The counterproof is that it's the last pasuk is contrasting the Deacon Rishon,
Right. And this is
first
contrast.
pasuk is Atzas Rishon.
Uh-huh.
So the opposite of the first pasuk is the second pasuk, and
Right.
you'll be a die.
Okay. However, I'll counter your counter.
Yeah.
Is maybe the pasuk 1 and 2 is describing a certain derech or trajectory,
Mhm.
which then will make you into a tzaddik.
Oh.
You know,
Oh.
like I don't know if he is a tzaddik yet. I don't know. I mean, I guess I when I asked the question, I was mistakenly thinking that the word tzaddik is mentioned in Gimel, but it's not. I think I thought that because Daled mentions Rishayim. You know, yeah.
Gimel
So
seems to be referring.
Say
Gimel does
again?
seem to be referring. Gimel seems to be referring to the Ashrei guy, though.
Yeah, it does. Right. But then, like Zev saying, like the rest of the perek does contrast the tzaddik and the rasha, so you can infer that the ish is a tzaddik. It is weird though that they just called it the ish, though. You know, ish is like literally the most generic term you can have. You know.
Well, yeah, because it's just saying like it's before we get jargony, we want to say what or like we were talking, you know.
Right, but like there are plenty of times when we say like, okay, I would check again with proof. There's a counter proof. Never mind. That's not. It's not even a counter proof. It doesn't have anything to do with it. Never mind. I hear what you're saying though. Yeah, it's possible. So I'm going to ask the question anyway, which is, are the ish and the tzaddik the same person? And if not, what is their relationship? Yeah. Okay. That's funny. Just notice the if you start typing the word tzaddik on the keyboard, it's MSH, but then and then E. So that doesn't really work out. I actually like forgot to put it here, so I just saw like typed in MSH. I'm like, why am I typing MSH? Longing. All right. Yeah. Okay. What are the other questions now? Do we do everything in 2? Pretty much, right? And we could nitpick and say what does it mean day and night, but whatever. All right, so let's so can we just ask like what is the botanical muscle in 3 and 4? Right? I think that'll just cover it.
I feel like when we ask a question like that for something like this where it's being poetic and descriptive, I feel like not talking about particulars, at least for me, makes it less like less like not exactly harder to think about. Actually, kind of harder to think about because we're not talking about the description.
Do you mean that you want me to break it down into the particular questions?
Yeah.
Okay, I can do that, but you got to remember also that not every muscle is going to have a nimshal for every particular.
Yeah. No.
Right,
Not
yeah.
like it could be a lot of minor questions that aren't necessary.
All right, fine. So, what is the muscle of the tree? Actually, I'm not going to type full sentences for each one. Okay, so let's just type the components. Tree planted near streams of water. What else?
Timely fruit.
Timely fruit. Oh, how timely.
Yeah. The word beito, I have like strong associations to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of
Yeah.
instances. Yeah. What else? Leaf doesn't wither, right?
Yeah.
Leaf doesn't witherproof leaf.
Witherproof jacket.
And everything he does, he succeeds in. So that's another thing also. Do you feel like it just switched to the nimshal midway,
Yeah,
right?
it's like-
Tweeds aren't successful, like yeah, and they don't do. I mean, I know it says yaset, right?
Yeah, it just like dropped the muscle.
Yeah, just got so carried away, and then and then with Rishayim, yeah.
Can Yasa mean like make in
Make
that?
that, yeah, that
context?
could be everything that makes it.
'Cause then
successful.
like the
Probably
tree makes the
successful.
fruit.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess the weird thing about that, which is not super weird, is that it already seems like that is just explaining what it already said, is that isn't making fruit in its proper time successful, and not withering? Like that's all parental trees want for their kids, is just to make fruit in their time and not wither, like that's success. It's a successful tree. All right, so then the Rashaim,
Yeah, so this is a question that could just be because it's Tehilim and not Mishlei.
yeah,
But why does it need to, like, if this is the opposite of Gimel,
yeah,
why does it need to spell it out?
Yeah.
And if it's not the opposite of Gimel, then I guess, then we can have to with it.
yeah. Let's just ask what it is,
Yeah.
instead of cramming it into Mishlei. What is the nimshal of the botanical mushal for the Russia? Right. So there, the elements are. What it doesn't say nearly as much, right?
Just calf that's blown away.
Yeah. Right, I'm not even gonna make bullet points. I.e., like, or yeah, like
Yeah.
chaff driven
Not
by
by
the
the wind.
wind. Yeah. Okay. Okay. This is a question that I don't know the best way to ask this. I'm confused by the syntax from in K and Vav. Al Kain seems to be giving a consequence
Yeah.
of of Gimel and Dalet.
Mhm.
Therefore, based on what we've said, therefore the Rishayim will not stand up in Mishpat and Chataim in the congregation of Tzadikim,
Or it could be therefore Dalet.
or Dalet specifically. He Yodea Hashem derech Tzadikim derech Rishayim toved, because Hashem knows the way of the Tzadikim, and the derech Rishayim will perish. So, what's the reason for Hey? Is it what was stated in Gimel and Dalet, or is it Vav?
I think it's both.
But then it's a weird sentence, isn't it? Like if I say we are out of the food, we're out of food, therefore go to the store. I guess you could say both and say because we need dinner. Yeah, I guess you could say both. Yeah.
Unless it's just love, which is the reason, and the thing backwards. So I agree.
So what's the connection then between the alkane and then the?
Oh, so the alkane is really going on above.
Oh.
Before.
You could say that. It's weird though, right? Alkane.
Maybe
and especially with the redundant key. I mean.
Maybe Vav is explaining a different facet of Hey. Like
that would be fine with that, saying
Yeah.
both in a good way. Yeah.
Yeah, like Rishayim are blown away like chaff, and therefore they won't stand up in judgment. And Hashem is able to do that because he knows the derech of Tzadikim and the derech of Rishayim.
Mhm. Yeah, that's plausible. So the way I phrased the question was, what's the relationship between pasuk Hey and the pesukim before and after it?
Mhm.
Okay.
Why?
Yeah.
Are we up to Vav and Hey now?
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay, so
Hey and Vav, I guess. Yeah. Oh, you guys are on two different teams now. Okay.
oh yeah, it was I forgot the
Couldn't
word.
really hear.
Okay, so
Ah.
so I was gonna say that what does it mean Hashem knows the way of the righteous but perishes the way of the wicked will perish? Why doesn't he punish the way of the wicked, or why doesn't he approve or like reward the way of the righteous?
Okay, so I'm going to ask
Like
the
it's a
basic
weird
questions.
dichotomy, knowing one and the other one.
Yeah. So I'll ask the questions about what it means and then ask the question about the inconsistent terminology. What does it mean that Hashem Yodea derech Tzadikim and derech Rashaim Toved? And then why the asymmetry, why the inconsistency in subject and predicate? Meaning, why is the first half stated in terms of what Hashem will do, but the second half is stated in terms of what the derech will result in, or will do.
Is there any actual action that you're seeing though? Because it kind of just seems like like you could explain it as that, like the way that things are set up.
Yeah.
That's the natural result.
That's the vibe I'm getting, right? Is that the derech of the Rishayim will perish. Yeah. Perish is a verb, but it's not a actor doing an action. Yeah. Okay, that's a good answer already. Yeah. One thing I just realized for thought. Yeah.
I have a question for Fred, which is, it talks about Rishayim and Chatayim.
Yes, that was what I was going to ask.
Relates.
Yeah. What happens to the Leitzim in Pasuk Hey? Yeah. Also, we obviously have to ask, what does it mean? A lot of what is just playing out straight up definition questions here. What does it mean that the Rishayim will not stand up in the Adas Tzadikim? And like, what is the Adas? Or sorry, does it say that? No, in the Mishpat. In Mishpat. Yeah. Okay. I'm just asking what everything means. In Mishpat, and then what does it mean that the Chatayim will not stand up in the Adas Tzadikim?
It's just the way the book is it's Lo Yakumu Chatayim Ba'adas, right?
Yeah. Oh, did I say something wrong for the Russia? Oh yeah. Does it use Yakumu for both? Oh no, that's what you're saying. Yeah. I think you do it for right. Yeah. All right. Is that it?
I have a step.
Okay.
Which is about Rishayim, Chatayim, and Leitzim.
Okay.
So Rishayim are
Better not be a step on the path of Chatayim.
is a step away.
Ah.
It's actually a step for Chatayim and Leitzim.
Mm,
So Rishayim are whatever Rishayim are. I'm not going to define that.
yeah.
But I think Chatayim are people who are doing actions, like bad actions, and Leitzim are people who are using speech badly.
Mm.
So-
Okay.
So then in the last part, people who are like getting destroyed are people who are Rishayim or who are doing bad actions, but like Leitzim aren't like qualifying for that level of like
Mhm.
destruction.
Where does he?
You're saying that from late.
I'm saying I think it's like the
Just 'cause-
definition of Leitzim.
Yeah.
I'm not explaining exactly
Yeah.
what the characteristic is, but I think that's like the
Right.
meaning of the word.
Right.
Yeah. Just as a 5 point, just so that we can feel comfortable doing this and you don't have to feel self-conscious. As far as we just say, yeah, late team also for 5. Like we don't have to be like that hung up on that thing, but I hear your answer. I guess what bothers me is that, and this is also bringing in my previous knowledge, is that Mishlei does seem to say that late team are really bad and they get consequences. So like, it's weird to say that they don't, arguably like late team can do worse damage than Chatayim than like inaction,
Yeah.
Have you heard of Kamsa Bar Kamsa? I mean that's not late team, I guess that's fucking hard, but yeah.
Also, when he said the Mishlei, the latest punishment is prepared for him.
Yes, that's true. So that's why he doesn't need to say it, because it's prepared for him. Yeah. Yeah. So I guess maybe let's start off by just doing the first two of them, right? Because that we have to figure out no matter what. Right? Like as a basis of stuff.
Mhm.
So can I gotta point out another thing here, which I said and Ariel was shocked by, which is like you don't really see people learning Torah in Mishlei. Maybe in the introductory prokim, but it's more like learning Chacham and stuff. But like this is like you said, it's very Tehilim-y, like he delights in Hashem's Torah, like that's very Tehilim-y type theme, But the interesting thing is you've got contrasting these people who are like seemingly doing bad things, and then someone who is delighting in thinking about Hashem's Torah. I feel like that's a significant juxtaposition or antithesis.
I had a thought about the first.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you were.
Yeah, you keep on muting yourself in the mid muting on. Yeah, I don't know if that's intentional or not.
Oh no! I thought you were still talking.
Oh no, go ahead.
Okay, so I was thinking, why does it say Haish instead of like the tzaddik or like you were asking before? And perhaps it's talking to a person who is like entering the question of like what type of lifestyle is he going to live. So he's not really a tzaddik or a rasha yet. Meaning like we're at the beginning of Tehilim, so he's sort of defining his like starting off to define what a lifestyle for a person should like.
Okay, so that's a good supplement to what my observation about the second part about like the path he's going to end up on, and it does say the derech tzaddik and the derech roshaim at the end. So maybe there's like two drachim in front of you, and the first person, the ish, is the person who's on that crossroad, and like if he goes away from the roshaim at the time and is involved in the leitim, and he goes in the Torah Hashem, that'll take him onto the path of the tzaddikim. Yeah, I think that's a good step. Yeah.
It's also interesting that all the bad characters, they're all, I don't know if they're all, but yeah, definitely the Rishayim and the Elazim seem to be with other people. Even Moshe Elazim, that seems like a group of
Right.
them, and then the Rishayim, the Atzas Rishayim,
Right. Yeah.
group. And
Yeah.
then, like, yeah, I guess also whatever. Like it seems like and they're for time, not exactly, but
Yeah.
ones, yeah. Whereas the good guy seems like he is like on his own. It's like
Well, that's
letting
interesting.
God.
Except for the right. Yeah. Oh, okay, that's what you're saying. Yeah, yeah. Meaning the ish is on his own, not the tzaddik. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Well, yeah.
Can I give a support for what you were saying about like the derech and it not
Yeah.
being- I think also the specific agricultural metaphor that they were using about being planted near streams, like he's planted at the source of the water, but he's not like a flourishing tree yet. He doesn't
Uh-huh.
have the fruit yet.
Uh-huh.
He's planted, he's in a situation where he's like built to succeed, but
Well,
yeah.
are you not learning the fruit thing as flourishing, or like
Well, he will
he
flourish.
will flourish.
When
you
he's
will
not,
flourish?
he's not. It's not that he's like.
But it
It's
hasn't
not that
happened.
he's gonna.
Uh-huh. You mean you're taking the future tense as like in the future,
Yeah.
as one
Like,
does.
he's planted,
Yeah.
he's like positioned in a particular
Yeah.
place, and like it hasn't happened yet, but he's set up to succeed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's not that he's currently bursting forth with.
Right.
It's that he's put himself by the stream of water, and that's gonna water him, and he's gonna give fruit in his time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I hear that. That makes sense.
Are you learning the second pasuk also as being about this sort of like person who's starting off then? Is there a way to like read, I don't
It
know,
seems-
chefzo that way and that kind of thing? It seems a little bit
Direction we're
hard.
going now, right? We're talking about a person who basically has removed himself from these bad influences and has and is involved in Torah. And are we assuming that the water is Torah? Like,
Yeah.
right? Classic,
Works.
right?
Why not?
And he's setting himself up. So really, the mashal of Gimel of the Pal Gemayim thing is like the nimshal of that is the fact that he's thinking about Torah day and night, right? And then that's going to set him up for the success of the fruit and the non-withering. And so, yeah, sorry, Tamara, what was your question again?
My question was, I guess, like at first glance, I thought that the second pasuk was about a person on like a very high level.
Yeah, well, it sounds
but
like
are we
raised
now-
him all day.
Yeah. But are we
Right.
now interpreting it as someone who's on like an intermediate level?
Well, we're saying he's not on the level of a tzaddik. So whether that is on a high level or not, I guess remains to be seen, because tzaddikim are on a higher level. That's all we're saying, I guess,
Yeah, I guess my question is kind of like the Torah Hashem chefzo stuff.
Mhm.
Does that mean he loves Torah and he's constantly thinking about it, or does it mean that that's like a lifestyle choice that he has made and he's like going for it?
I'm inclined to think the second way, because it doesn't really describe. Well, yeah, I guess it depends on how you understand chafzo, right? If he delights or desires in it, like,
Well, he seems. I mean, he is studying in there.
yeah,
Seems like it is.
that's pretty good. Yeah, yeah. What do you say about that? He is studying day and night, so it sounds like he is. So in that sense, he's on a high level. Here's one thing that still gets me here. I mean, tzaddikim, I feel like are. I mean, maybe I'm just Mishlei influence, but like they do actions,
Mhm.
Of righteousness. And like this guy's learning, but it's not really describing like what he's doing, you know?
Well, I guess maybe he's like putting himself in this position will cause him to grow and eventually like it'll affect him such that he will become a tzaddik like with like not just an idea but also an action.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It does it does say that he's in the Derek Tzadikim or Adas Tzadikim is like the company of Tzadikim, and those are people who study Torah. Meaning
Right.
a Tzadik is someone who does actions, but they do study Torah. Otherwise, they wouldn't.
Yeah. I don't know what's bothering me.
Also, just to note that it is interesting that it specifically says that it's God's Torah
Yeah.
that he's interested in.
Right.
It's not just like Chachma.
Yeah. That's true. And Torah is a lifestyle, the regimen that brings those to practice probably to true perfection, true success.
Yeah, so this is it's spelling out that fact that we're not spelling out, talking about that. That because it's a regimen that brings a person to true success, if he's involving himself in the regimen and staying away from the bad influences, then he will give forth fruit like in his time. And I don't know about the leaf not withering or everything just succeeding.
Yeah.
But I think this is I'd say, I guess what I'd say is that the first three pesukim are talking about the benefit of involving yourself in this type of lifestyle. And the second half is talking about the two like categories of lifestyle ends. Is like you like this person is it's kind of like this person's like it's kind of almost like a crossroads of like person could walk in the council of wicked and stand on the path of Tehilim and sit in the motion place. That's praiseworthy of the person who goes the other direction because she's gonna like grow and become like a tree that's giving forth fruit. And the option is just being like chaff, which is just blown away in the wind, and then it's talking about the two ends.
Yeah, I think that's a good setup. Just going back to that first point, did you say like, or someone said, is there like a middle between the two, the part 1 and 2? So I don't think there is. Meaning, I think you're either involved in thinking about Torah day and night, or you are. Well, let's put it this way. If you're on the path, following the counsel of the wicked, or in all those other things, you can't be involved in delighting in Hashem's Torah. Like those are two different value systems, I think.
Yeah, right. I think a person could be not specifically doing either.
Yeah, right. You can't be doing both.
Right. Yeah. That's what I meant. I don't know. I always forgot all my like mutually exclusive positives. Excluded middles.
Yeah, I think the question is there a middle where a person is not choosing the path of throwing themselves into the regimen, but also not going down the structure path.
Right. Yeah, that's like a Mishlei Chacham, I guess. Yeah. All right. Should we start reading the Ibn Ezra? Okay, just to get our feet wet. Okay, so what I did.
Our roots wet.
Yeah. What I did with the Ibn Ezra here is on all Torah they have. I don't know if it's for all of Tehilim, but they have Rabbi Strickman's English translation of the whole Ibn Ezra. So I put the Ibn Ezra, the translation there. So if you want to follow along in English, you can. But and Ibn Ezra Hebrew is a little difficult, so that's another reason I included it. Ashrei Ha'ish, Kadmonenu Zal Amru, Ki Amad Kasha Min Halach, V'Yatra Kasha Mikulam. What do you mean by Kasha here? Amad is harsher,
straw.
harsher or more severe than halach, and yashav is worse than all of them. So in other words,
maybe the person is like being more involved.
Yeah, right. I mean, if you're sitting with people, that's like a real connection. If you're walking with them, that's like less, and then if you're like just following their advice, that's less maybe. Im kain yihiu haletim ra'im echatayim. So if so, the letim are worse than chatayim.
Which is why they're not destroyed.
Ravi Moshe HaKohen Pirish Lahefech. V'amar kitam lo amad afilu lo amad. So let me just go back to the pesukim here. So he learns it the opposite. So is it in like ascending order in terms of like getting worse and worse and worse? Or is it in descending order?
Yeah.
That the Rishaim are the worst.
Yeah.
And then Chatayim are less, and then Leitim are the least bad.
Yeah. I think the question is about the verb. Is is walking worst thing to do or better thing to do?
Right. Yeah.
Like you could say, well, I guess walking with them is more movement is like you're more actively doing something.
Yeah.
You can also like you're less.
If he's not even standing, then he's just like out of the picture.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Okay. And then it looks like he gives his interpretation. Kimilas Rishaim. Oh, so this is okay. This is where he proposes his radical definition of a Rasha. Okay. So Kimilas Rishaim Heim She'enam Omnim Al Maskunes Achas. People who don't remain in one. You know what? Can you look at the English? And I'm gonna look at my blog post. I wrote blog posts on this a while ago, right? Is Russia evil?
In constant flux.
In constant flux. I just want to see if I use the same translation if I translated myself here.
You did.
Yeah. Constant state of flux. Yeah. Right. I think I did. Yeah. Yeah. Kederech the Harashaim Kayam Nigrash. Rashaim are like the turbulent sea, or like the driven sea, whereas the are like the troubled sea. Okay. Hashket lo yuchal. They are not capable of tranquility, of rest. And similarly, wherever he turns, he will agitate. I think he will unsettle them. Okay, Yarshia. He grants quietude, and who can agitate? He's kir Rishaim halach. And that's why it says with Rishaim, it says the word halach, to walk. Someone who's seduced to walk in the counsel of another. Lo yada'a, and in the path he doesn't know. Umilas, we'll go back and think about that in a second. Umilas chatayim kasha. So chatayim is worse. He's cured derech, kihu haragil elechas ba. So derech is accustomed to go on, it's like your derech. Umilas yashav kasha mimenu, v'kachadas kanmonu. So he's agreeing with the chazal. And then he gives another definition here. V'leitim migidras ihamelit binotam. The interpreter was between them. Shiur or intermediary. Who Yigale sod Reuven to Shimon. So it's someone who reveals the secret of Reuven to Shimon. Leitim him hevach ha'anavim. Leitim are the opposite of the humble. Okay. Im laleitim hu yalitz, and then the second half of the pasuk says anavim yitin chen. So it's contrasting the leitim and the anavim. The akrav ulanavim yitin cheno. He says that. I didn't realize he quoted the whole pasuk. Va'anavim him habaishanim ledaber diba. That's weird. V'laseis dopi ulgalatz starim. So anavim are people who are ashamed to speak slander and to instill, dubiousity and to reveal secrets. Yeah. So that's a really different definitions of everyone, right? So Rishaim are the tamest ones. Rishaim are not evil; they're disturbed people. They're in flux. Chatayim are accustomed in the bad, so they have a consistency. And then Leitim are the worst; they reveal secrets. Yeah.
Can I just ask, why are we not chopping this up as a model shot?
You mean you could just say that Ashrei issue doesn't go with bad guys?
Yeah.
You could say that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What's inclining you to not do that?
What's my me not do that?
Yeah,
Him.
you, because you usually are for that.
I mean, we haven't really been that when we do the Radak. I mean, we just follow the Radak's lead.
Right.
I don't really impose.
Yeah. You mean yes for the discussion?
What?
You mean for the discussion?
Or yeah. I don't know.
Well, yeah. I mean,
I'd say if we can get an idea out of it, then we can get an idea out of it. But if we if we can, then.
I think I Dafka would not be would not want to say that they're all just bad guys, because to me Rishayim and Chataim and Leitim seem like such different people
Yeah, that's all true.
that that like I would think it's a bad shot to say that they're all just bad guys. I mean, there might be a general idea you can get that he doesn't hang out with bad guys, but like it's such an elaborate pasuk, you know.
Yeah.
What could it be saying?
Yeah, it could be saying
All
that.
these different categories.
Yeah. I don't know. I just maybe it's just my Mishlei prejudices that like like to me a late is like a really different person than a Chote, like, you know.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is though.
Right.
I wouldn't if you know if someone wanted to do that, I'd be like, you do you, you know, especially because the here's the argument I would make. This is a better argument, is you could say the fact that the focus seems to be on Rishayim. So like these are just examples of different kinds of Rishayim, you know. But I would be like, I would default assume that it was talking about different people. I would not make a big deal of the halach ba'atzas Rishayim u'v'derech ha'tayim lomad and motiv le'usim lo yashav, because that I think is just poetically thing. Like you're not gonna say he doesn't follow the counsel of the wicked and he doesn't follow the counsel of the sinners. He doesn't, you know, like you want to switch it up, but yeah.
I think it might be a mistake to jump to that too soon. I feel like that if you don't come up with something, then depending on the situation, you can say that. But I don't think that that's like where you should go.
Right. I guess.
I mean, not that you need to like spend an hour working on it, but like if it's like. I think it's only if it's like not productive to think about it for some reason.
Yeah, like again, I just find comparing it to Mishlei, like if you had a puzzle that said like the late is going to get his punishment and the Chote will suffer, I would not walk into it assuming that the late and the Chote are synonyms.
Right. I guess just because like later on it leaves one of them out, and it seems to be.
Yeah, and that's the argument I'm making is if you say it later on, and you see that it's only focusing on the Rishayim and like it's not to then yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good methodology question. That is a good point. All right, let's look at the second pasuk now. There's more to think about, obviously, because I do want to understand his categories, but just to get facts here. He has no, wow, that's a high level. He has no involvement or desire in the vanities of the world. Rak kol kapso b'Torah Hashem lasos hamitzvos. So he does the lasos hamitzvos, right? But he's leaning into the word ki'im, but only in the Torah Hashem. Yeah. So that also sheds light on the Rishayim, Chataim, and Leitim, that they are involved in the Hevlei Ha'olam, and that's where their chayfetz is. Yeah. V'tam Torah, ki Torah haderech ha'yishara. Torahinu haderech ha'yishara. So the meaning of Torah is it instructs us on the upright path. Umilas yehege believe. Yehege is in the mind. The hagus libi tibunos. The thoughts of my mind are understandings. V'gam b'peh, also in the mouth. Kamo ulashoni tege tzidkecha, and my tongue will utter your righteousness. V'lemor v'saraso yehege, and to say in his Torah he will yehege. V'lo nichtav ubah yehege. It doesn't say ubah yehege derech tachos in a poetic way. Ki hine milas Yisrael chamesh pa'amim b'pasuk echad. Okay, so it's repetition for poetic reasons. V'hizkir yomam v'layla k'neged arba'a matkonos haguf. Is that the four humors? Yomam v'layla? Wait, what does it say? K'neged arba'a matkonos haguf? I don't even get where he's getting the four from.
Four positions of the body.
Oh yeah, four positions. Yeah, that's even. But where's the number four coming from? Did I just miss this? Or is he talking about like?
Maybe you go through four positions.
Is like standing, sitting, walking, and sleep, and lying down. I don't know, or what?
Maybe he wants to make it more parallel with the first pasuk. That there's no different.
You know, the three positions. Yeah. Okay, so what do we get from this for the two for these two pesukim from the Ebenezer here? It sounds like it is about different value systems, right? Valuing Havlei Ha'olam, and that's like what these guys get caught up in, either in a turbulent way, which seems to imply like conflict, they're going from one thing to another. He's not on one derech. Then Fatime is like you're entrenched in certain bad derech, and then Leitim, you're revealing secrets. I still don't get like how that fits in cleanly. But then this other guy has removed himself from that value system and is only involved in the derech hayishara and doing mitzvos. Okay, good for him.
Okay.
Yes, happy for him. Yeah,
Wasn't that gonna be?
in the next part. Yeah. I'm just trying to get a picture of like this guy. It does seem like a high level, like Tamar was saying, like very, very high level, which might be what it is.
Mhm.
And I don't know, something about the first part is just bothering me.
Well,
Like,
Ask a
don't you
question.
need to say like one of them? Like, I mean, that's not the biggest question. But like, if you just say that he's not, he. Never mind. Yeah, what were you gonna say, Tamar?
It sounds like it might be a similar question to what you're asking. Like, if you have the second pasuk, why do you need the first one? If he really is like this incredibly high level person,
Yeah.
then why do you need to like what's being added by saying he doesn't hang out with Hashem or whatever?
I can see why, like, practically speaking, you need to mention it because, really the guy in the second pasuk encompasses withdrawing from a lot more stuff also, not just Rishayim, Patayim, and Leitim, but like to give you a practical derech of saying like, these are the people you should stay away from. Like, let's say, for example, like people who are, what's another category that's not mentioned there? Like, Evilim. It's also bad to be around Evilim, but like, the point is that you need particulars in order to know what to stay away from. If I just said withdraw from the Havle Ha'olam, that's not as specific as like the guidance that this is giving him. And maybe this is where the group thing comes in, that like in order to be involved in Torah, you do need to pull yourself out of the social realm of the people who are involved in Havle Ha'olam. Like you can't do it while being involved in those that chevra, Yeah. All right, let's stop for today, and we'll try to finish the Ibn Ezra next time, and then come up with an idea. Yeah, it's a weird perek. Feels weird.